Tanya,
Yeah, Diana,
may I
what you
ask?
got going?
Yeah, I would like to ask you a question. In CAF or in Legito, do we have a form for the buyer and seller to sign off when we walking through? I look up, but I cannot find it. I just create one. How you handle it?
Yeah, we don't do walkthroughs on a business. There's no
Yeah,
walkthrough in a
because this is
transition.
the dry cleaner and we have the equipment and we have the inventory, and the seller said he would like to sign because he doesn't want 1 month after we close the escrow, the buyer complained that the equipment doesn't work the first
Yeah.
time. So he want me to give him a form that the buyer can sign and no liability from him.
Well, so I think that in terms of the equipment and all that,
Yeah.
there certainly you have a list of FF&E that goes to that gets attached to your bill of sale, and buyer and seller are both signing off on the FF&E.
Oh.
But you're not going to put every single thing on that list. Certainly, any major equipment in a laundromat, you'd have X number of washers and X number of dryers, and whatever. One thing that buyers have done, and that I suggest to buyers sometimes, is that they just walk around with the seller at the beginning of the transaction, mostly, and walk through with the seller with their phone and just recording uh, everything that's there, right, in the shop, just kind of taking video, and then have the seller point out anything that the seller is going to be removing. So sometimes you have sellers that want to take their office furniture or some artwork off the walls or whatever it may be. And so the seller can have right on the video, they can walk through together. And again, I have them do that at the beginning of the transaction, but basically just record, okay, well, yeah, this doesn't go with the sale. I'm taking that. This belongs to the employees, so it's not part of the sale. If you're, let's say, in an auto repair shop or something like that, you have all kinds of tools, but a lot of times the tools belong to the mechanics. So it's certainly not anything. It's not an asset of the business that can be sold with the business. So things like that. But that's, you can use videos like that. And those are walkthroughs that I recommend, but there's no form for that. That's just kind of documenting what the transaction is going to look like and what assets are going to go.
Thank you, Tanya.
Sure. But I would be really reluctant if I represented the seller to have the seller sign off on anything guaranteeing that, all the well, the purchase agreement already has in the reps and warranties that all the equipment is in working condition unless it's listed under an exception. So, in a laundromat, you would I think it's fair for the buyer to assume that all the washing machines work, all the dryers work, everything there works, unless it's specifically been identified as needing repair or not working for whatever reason. And then that would be on an addendum or on some kind of a separate list anyways, or at least on identified as an exception under the reps and warranties.
The reason the seller asked because the escrow hold his money, a portion of his money due to the tax clearance. Therefore, he kind of worry later the buyer gonna use an excuse of the equipment does not work and ask him to pay them back. So that's why. But thank you, Tanya. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.